What's going on, guys, and welcome to a new episode of the Ultimate Ironman series. In the last episode we actually got the bofa, and in this episode we'll be working towards corrupting it, and after that we'll be putting it to good use. As mentioned in the last episode, we need both 82 smithing and crafting to corrupt the bofa. We can actually boost for this though, but we will need at least 78 smithing before we can boost with it. For the boost we will probably buy a beer, which we can buy at the Giant Foundry. This is a guaranteed +4 boost, and I really like guaranteed boost, so we don't really have to roll the RNG on the spicy stews. So let's dead bank so we can go to the blast furnace to train our smithing up. So we now basically have an empty inventory. The only things we have to take is our cash tag, our graceful outfit, and ice gloves and goldsmith gauntlets. And this is actually a pretty interesting method. We buy gold ores from Orden, and then we put them in the blast furnace, then we put in another inventory, and instead of closing the interface by pressing spacebar, we actually close our interface by wearing our goldsmith gauntlets, and this makes sure we also get our second EXP drop with the goldsmith gauntlets buff, because as most of you guys probably know, the goldsmith gauntlets give 2x EXP from smithing gold, and this makes this method actually really good. We get around 300k XP per hour, a pretty interesting UIM training method I'd say, and not that much slower than it would be for regular Ironman. And that's our first level coming in for 73 smithing. I'm actually really enjoying this method as the EXP is just so fast. The alternative would be doing Giant's Foundry. This will be a bit slower but also will be a bit cheaper, but since we have plenty of cash for this, I'd much rather do the fast training method. And that's 75 smithing coming in, a small milestone for the account. We will actually do this method until 77 smithing. And we will leave a bit of EXP so we can do the last level with Giant's Foundry. Because as I said before, we can buy a beer at the Giant's Foundry and this will give a +4 smithing boost. And since we will probably do a spicy stew boost for crafting, it's really nice to have a consistent boost for smithing. So we don't have to do spicy stew boosting for a couple of hours, but instead at least have the guaranteed boost for smithing. And we just have to roll on the RNG for the crafting boost. And that's 76 smithing coming in. It's actually insane to do a training method that is this fast. It has been a while since I saw my levels going up this quickly. One more level left and then we have to do a bit of EXP at the blast furnace still, and after that we'll move over to the Giant's Foundry. So we got 77 smithing, and as I said, we wanted to do a bit more EXP over the 77 smithing. So now we have 60k EXP left, and I think if we do Giant's Foundry for 300 Foundry points, which is enough to buy the beer, we should actually reach 78 smithing with that. So we'll do that later, but first let's focus on crafting. It's getting pretty late in the evening, so I'm going to do some ammonite crabs AFKing here. I dropped both my ice gloves and the goldsmith gauntlets, as we won't be needing these for a while. And I actually want to show you the hassle we have to go through to set ourselves up for ammonite crab AFKing, because as an ultimate Ironman we obviously just cannot take everything out of the bank, so we have to do some stuff for that. We already took out our Void's Night outfit, and I think I also don't have any clips of us getting this, because we did get this during our corrupted gauntlet grind. And the first thing we need to do now is get a candle from the candle maker in Sears Village, because we need to go to the Lumbridge mines, and for this we will need a light source. Then we have to go to Varrock to get 75 steel arrows, and these we will need to buy the Ava's accumulator. After that we go to Ava's to actually buy the Ava's accumulator with the steel arrows. And then we realize we actually forgot to buy a tinderbox, which we will need to light a candle so we actually have a light source. And then we were finally ready to go to the Dorgashkun mine, and here we can buy the bone crossbow and bone bolts, and these are actually very cheap to get and give pretty decent ranged EXP, especially combined with the Void Knight's outfit. This we will take to the ammonite crabs and then we can AFK there. And something we should also mention is that whenever we go to the ammonite crabs, it's actually a lot of world hopping, since with the new logout timer, you actually stay logged in for about 20 minutes after you lose aggro on the ammonite crabs. And this makes it so a lot of worlds are occupied for a long time. So a lot of hopping here, but in the end I think it's pretty much worth it, because the ranged EXP is really good, and in the end we obviously have to get 80 range to wear the bofa. It's another morning, no range levels gained unfortunately, didn't really AFK for that long. Might question if it was really worth the time to get everything, but yeah, we still did it. The plan for today is to basically super glass make the whole day, and this should probably get us to at least 77 for the +5 boost, but I'd rather get a couple of levels so we don't have to roll for the +5 boost, but let's just see how this grind will turn out and see how far we will get. In the last clip we just picked up our giant seaweed from the dead bank, and now we have to buy 1615 astral runes to use up all our buckets of sand. With that we should still have some giant seaweed left, and this we will probably just put in our looting bag, because in the end we have to get some crafting levels to actually craft our Zenite jewelry later. But that's something for the future. So for now let's just buy 1615 astral runes, and with that we should definitely be fine for this grind. I think in the last clip I mentioned multiple times we needed 1615 astral runes, but we actually need 1650. So we just bought that, and also we bought some fire runes and a staff of air, since for each cast we need 10 air runes and 7 fire runes, I think. So just buying an air staff and getting the fire runes is a bit more efficient. Now all we need to do is switch over to the lunar spellbook, and then we can start to super class make. I kind of forgot to do this, but we still have to pick up our sand from the sandstone grinder, so we just got 15k buckets of sand, which is a bit more than we need. So with this... oh wait, I should actually deposit my buckets first before we do this. And with this we should actually be able to claim all our sand, and with this we can start super glass make. That's around 13k buckets of sand, which should be enough to match our giant seaweed. We probably should have gotten a glass blowing pipe before we switched to the lunar spellbook, because it's not that easy to get it now. We just had to make a walk to the Grand Exchange now, and we'll probably just use the spirit tree to go to Priv and then buy it at the Priv charter ship. Yeah, that's the glass blowing pipe bot, and again, we probably should have gotten this before we switched over to lunars, but what can you do? So we made our way over to the Ironman island, and I think this was actually pretty much a mistake. Like by nature, I kind of just walked here to blow glass, and I don't really think we should actually be here. But on my main iron, I did it so much on this island, since you can farm giant seaweed at the same time. But for us, we don't have seeds in our inventory, so not really that viable for us. But yeah, anyway, we are here now. I kind of have to figure out how we have to manage our inventory. Let me figure this out for a couple of minutes, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so we should drop 3 lantern lances, unload a giant seaweed, and then drop all lantern lances except 2. And then we should have pretty much the exact inventory space for the buckets of sand. Then we can cast super glass make, and this should basically be the method. That's also 71 crafting coming in, not bad. And now we just blow the glass and basically repeat this process. What we do want to consider is to drop our lantern lances and molten glass on different tiles. Because if we wouldn't do that, we couldn't really pick up our molten glass, and I kind of want to do this to get a bit more efficient EXP for each giant seaweed and each bucket of sand. Because if we would drop everything on the same tile, we couldn't really pick it up efficiently. I'm just going to try out if this is really viable, but if not, I'm just not going to pick up my excess glass. The reason this happens, by the way, is because whenever you cast super glass make, you actually make more molten glass than your inventory spot can fit, so it means the rest of the molten glass will drop to the floor. Let me just figure this out, and yeah, we'll see how this method will go. Yeah, to make what I said last clip a bit more clear, like when we cast super glass make right now, our lantern lances are actually on top of the molten glass, which means we cannot really left click pick everything up, and this is basically the reason why we have to move between these tiles. It's a pretty tedious method, so I'd really have to consider if this is worth it, but yeah, we'll just see about that. And that's 73 crafting coming in. I really am considering a different method here. What we could also do is sell all our lantern lances to a general store, and this way we won't have to drop our whole inventory. Probably the best play here is to go to Bird Hope, because that general store, there is a little trick with that to make it really close to a bank. I'm just going to try that out. Let's see how that will work, and we could always consider going back here for this other method. So now it's time to show the little trick. We have our alt account set up with a very fitting name to actually keep Martin stalled by talking to him, and this way the walk to the general store is actually really close to a bank. So what we do right now is we do basically the same, drop 3 lantern lances, unload a giant seaweed, then we have to pick up 2 lantern lances to make our inventory fitting for the buckets of sand. Unload those, drop the lantern lances again, cast super glass make, and then blow the glass into lantern lances. And this is actually a lot more chill, a lot less clicks, because we can just sell them in one click. So this method, I think, will be a lot more chill for us. And that's 74 crafting coming in, not bad, not bad. It actually turns out, if you wait long enough, Martin can actually be 1 tile away from a bank, which is actually pretty insane. I don't think you can get him even closer. I tried this for 15 minutes, but I think this is his maximum wander range. This makes this method quite good. I'm still considering if I really should pick up my excess molten glass. Currently I'm still doing it, but it will really increase the EXP per hour if we wouldn't pick it up. So yeah, we'll just see about that. We are about to reach 75 crafting, and I actually decided to not pick up my molten glass anymore. I'm just picking up 2 for each trip so we can set up our inventory for the buckets of sand. But other than that, I'll just leave them on the floor. We used to get around 80k EXP per hour with picking it up, but we are currently getting about 105k EXP per hour without picking it up. Makes this grind a lot faster, so definitely decided to do this. And also 75 crafting is there. I think we'll do about 2 levels here, and then we should be set up. We are about to reach 77 crafting, and I think I've been giving mixed signals on this, because in one way I do want to use up all my buckets of sand, which should get us to around 80 crafting, but in another way I would be fine just going for the spicy stew boost, since I do really want to corrupt our bofa. That's also 77 crafting. Yeah, I think I said before I didn't really like spicy stew boosts, which I still really don't, especially not when we have to go for the +5 boost, but yeah, as I really want to corrupt the bofa as soon as possible, probably just the play we're going to make. And again, pretty late in the evening again, so just set myself up for some ammonite crab AFKing. We are currently at 77 ranged with about 90k EXP left, so just going to do this for the rest of the evening, and then we'll see how far we will get. It is another morning again. We ended off with 78 ranged with about 120k EXP left, which means 2 levels there we can actually equip the bofa. The plan for today is to do some smithing. We want to do 78 smithing with the Giant's Foundry. Should also give us enough points to get the beer there. For the +4 boost, obviously. After that, we'll decide on whether we will do some crafting training. But I think I'm just going to opt to do the spicy stew boost. We actually dropped our ice gloves after the blast furnace grind. And we should probably have opted to just keep them, as we have to get new ones for the Giant's Foundry now. Just had to make a quick trip back to the Ice Queen. I think it's not a storable item, so we just have to do this. But yeah, pretty easy to get. That's the ice gloves achieved. Now let's make our way to the Giant's Foundry. Before we do the Giant's Foundry, we definitely want to make sure to dead bank. And just to have a clean inventory, right, just have to take our cash and our graceful out. But also we have to do a quest first. The Sleeping Giants quest is required to unlock the Giant's Foundry. So I have to take out some other items, have to get some quest items. The Dragon Axe we had to take out. But yeah, we should be fine with this. I think it's a pretty fast quest, so let's just get that out of the way first. Yeah, really quick and easy quest. Now we actually have to figure out how to actually do the Giant's Foundry. I did do this on my main iron, but never really did this on a UIM. And I think it's a pretty interesting method, so we have to figure out how to do this. So we have to buy a very specific amount of both adamant and mithril armor at Prifdenness. And luckily Twitch chat was here to help me with this. After this, we take this to the Giant's Foundry, and we can actually use these instead of bars, which is a very nice method, makes this pretty viable for UIMs. So after we fill up our inventory with adamant and mithril armor, we can go to the Giant's Foundry and make some swords there. Giant's Foundry has actually been such a great update. I really like how they made a smithing method. It's actually pretty interesting to do so, because usually smithing was just kind of this tedious, boring grind. Also blast furnace, quite click intensive, and this, yeah, it just really makes sense, and it's a really chill method. Would definitely recommend this to everyone. I think with one inventory of adamant and mithril armor, we should actually be able to get to 78 smithing and get enough points for the beer, but yeah, we yet have to figure this out. Sure hope we can get there, and otherwise we probably have to do one more inventory. We did actually manage to get enough points for the beer with the one inventory, but didn't manage to get all the EXP, so I opted to just do the last bit of EXP at the blast furnace. Just makes it a bit quicker, and yeah, again, I really want to corrupt this bofa at this moment. That 78 smithing should be enough to corrupt the bofa. Now all we need to do is get the beer and then go get some spicy stews, and we should be totally fine. So we are currently setting ourselves up for the spicy stew boost, got the pet out, got the stews out, and I think your YouTube viewers haven't even seen our bofa yet, so let's take it out of the stash unit. Yeah, that's our juicy looking bofa. Yeah, it's actually such an amazing item. Have been grinding like a month for this. And yeah, again, I think you haven't really seen this before, so here it is. Now let's set ourselves up for the spicy stew boost. We arrived at the Hellcat behemoths, and these are pretty nice to do because you can just let your cat fight with the Hellrat, and after that you get a guaranteed spice. So instead of having to chase the rats with your cat and getting a random spice, which you have to do in the Evil Dave subquest, you just always get the orange spice, because the orange spice is what we will need to actually boost for crafting. So let's get a few of these, and then we can try some boosting. And I'll definitely make sure to get the first boost on video. Yeah, not that lucky this time. I think I won't put every little boost on the clip, but yeah, once we get there, you'll definitely see it. So we just got crashed at the Ammonite Crabs, and you better know I'm bringing my main with the cannon and the blowpipe over here. Yeah, but we almost got 80 ranged, and this guy actually crashed us just like 10k EXP before we got it. That's actually 80 range coming in. I even told him I would hop like after 10 minutes if he would like go away. I just needed this world for like 10 minutes, as I said. But yeah, now he can definitely expect me wrecking him with his main. Don't know if I'm the douchebag here or he is, but yeah, at least we got 80 ranged. And obviously, apart from all the frustration, we can now finally wear the bofa. So once we now corrupt it, we should be totally good. To make the stew boosting a bit easier, I actually did decide to get 79 crafting. Like a +3 boost is way more consistent than a +5 boost. So that's 79 crafting out of the way and we should be able to boost pretty consistently right now. That's an 82 boost. Shrink this. Oh, this is actually terrible. Wait, oh, I'm so stupid actually. Oh, I'm so stupid. Our smithing ran out. Oh, this is actually a disaster. Oh, good lord. Yeah. I'm actually so stupid. Like, we got our we got our crafting boost, but our smithing was -1. So to explain that little clip from the stream a bit better, what actually happened is that our smithing boost was -1 because the spicy stews can also nerf your stats. So when we drank the boost, like the +4 boost from Giant's Foundry, we actually only got a +3 boost. So now we are back at the foundry to get the beer back again. We've literally been stew boosting for like an hour on stream, and in the end I even forgot to record the clip of us actually getting it. But yeah, here's the corrupted bofa, which now means we don't have to use any charges at all to actually fire it, so no charges needed for that anymore. And we also can kind of rock this red nice bow right now. So great to have this out of the way, and especially for Ammonite Crab AFKing, this will also be really good, but I'll show you that in the future. Also, we have about 1.5k buckets of sand left, and I opted to just drop these. They are pretty easy to get back. It's like 50 minutes of mining, and the inventory spot is, yeah, it's pretty nice to save that, I think. We are now going to buy a gold leaf in Keldergrim because we want to build a stash unit to actually store the Dragon Eggs in. Because for our next grind, we need a lot of inventory space, and each inventory spot we can spare is really important. So time to build the Dragon Egg stash unit. The only downside of the stash unit is that we actually need the Drayman stuff to go here. And the Drayman stuff is something we can buy in Lumbridge. We can buy this at Purdue for 60k. Purdue in general, a really nice place to get certain items back. Also diary items you can get back there pretty easily. But again, a 60k investment. But yeah, the inventory spot definitely worth it. And I think taking a small moment to enjoy our new best in slot gear is very nice. The full crystal armor with the corrupted bofa on a UIM, I'd say that's a pretty nice achievement. And I said this before, but for our next grind, we will need a lot of inventory space and we will need to do a lot of thinking of actually setting up our inventory. That's why we are currently at Hespori, taking out some stuff at our dead bank, and I'll just try to get this inventory set up right, and I'll get back to you once we finally got it, and I'll also do the explanation because of why we are doing this then. So we did a lot of figuring out, still have to get some stuff. Two things we have to do is get a herb sack, which is by the way quite a controversial item. Some people in chat really say it's not worth to get it, but in my opinion it is really worth it. I'll show you this in a second. So the herb sack we will get, and also we have to get 7 marks of grace, so we can get rid of the marks of grace in our inventory, because the marks of grace are not tradable. We are not able to put them in the looting bag. Once we turn them into amethyst crystals, we can actually put those in the looting bag, but for that we need at least 10, because you can only turn in each 10 marks of grace for amethyst crystal packs. And our current inventory setup is totally set up for both farming contracts and herb runs. We will do both of these while we are actually trying to train Slayer, because the next big grind will actually be Slayer. We have to get to 69 Slayer for Zenite jewelry, and this will be really important for PVMing later. But the first stop will probably be 58 Slayer, because then we can get the black mask, and this also will be a very important item for us. But that's the herb sack gotten from the Tide farm. We still had some points saved up, and I'll show you in a second why I think this is good. And even though a lot of people disagree with me, I still stand by my own point, and I think for UIMs this can be a very nice item during herb runs. But before we start doing herb runs, let's first get rid of these marks of grace in our inventory, because as I said, once we get 10 we can turn these in for amethyst crystals, and those we can actually put in the looting bag. Usually the way rooftop courses work is that when you're 20 levels over the requirement for the rooftop course, you actually get less marks of grace per hour. But that actually isn't the case for the Cannabis course, and since the Cannabis course is actually the shortest course, you do get the most marks of grace per hour here. I never really knew this, but Twitch chat actually reminded me of this, so nice to know this, and Cannabis course it is for these last 7 marks of grace. So the marks of grace are now out of our inventory, which is a very nice thing, 1 inventory spot saved, which is especially important while we do farming contracts. Since at 77 Herbler we should be able to boost for the Ceradome brews, and those will, as mentioned in the last episode, be very important for PVM content in the future. And the reason why we do farming contracts for the seed is because I actually think this is the best way to get seeds that give a lot of EXP. Since while thieving master farmers, which would be the alternative to get seeds, does give very good Raynar seeds, which are good for prayer potions obviously, they actually give very little Irid seeds, while Irid seeds are actually one of the best seeds to get for Herblore EXP on Ironman, as the secondary are Eyes of Newt, which are really easy to get. Farming contracts do take a lot of inventory space though, as you need all these kind of different seeds, which on a regular Ironman you obviously just have in your bank, but as an ultimate Ironman you actually need to keep them in your inventory. For farming contracts, we do have a neat little trick which saves us some inventory space. Since we have to boost for farming contracts right now, we can actually let our boost run out, and this makes us unable to get any fruit tree contracts. As you can only get fruit tree contracts from level 85 farming, since then you unlock the last level in the farming guild. Whenever you let your boost run out, so we let our boost run out to 84 farming, we are actually unable to get these fruit tree contracts. This makes sure we never have to keep these in our inventory, which is about 6 inventory spots saved, I think. So if we wouldn't do this, it would be way easier to get stuck on a farming contract, and this way we make sure to avoid that. We actually just got a spirit tree from a farming contract, and this is actually very nice, because right now we are going here with the Battlefront portal, which is quite a walk. But once the spirit tree has grown, we can actually go to the farming guild from our player owned house, which is actually a very huge upgrade. One thing I also forgot to mention in the last clip is that we only let our boost run out whenever we downgrade our contract. So we definitely want to make sure to always try to get a hard farming contract, but when we have to downgrade, this way we make sure we can never get a fruit tree contract. And that's the spirit tree planted. Now all we have to do is wait a bit for this to grow, and then we have a way easier method to actually go to the farming guild. And remember how we used to get all the setup for the ammonite crabs with the bone bolts and the bone crossbow, but from now on you can actually just use the bofa here, which is corrupted, so it doesn't even take any charges. And well, this will also be the end of the episode, and I'll go on to edit this episode while AFK here at Ammonite Crabs. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.